Shut up! I just wanted to say hi to.
Shut up! Face the wall. Turn around. Turn around.
Give me your hat.
Yeah. And you weren't really sparring. You were fighting. We were fighting all the time. And just guys getting dropped all the time. And that was just the kind of gym that I was in.
But this wasn't a real fight. He was pulling punches. He wasn't giving it his full effort.
So word just hit about Joe Rogan's brutal takedown of those Jake Paul arrest rumors, and honestly his reaction has been completely off the charts. The man is not pulling any punches with this response.
You can't think, you can't do things, you don't know what the fuck you're doing in life. It's like literally everything is the quality of your ability to think. And I knew that I was putting that.
Rogan dropped this bombshell warning that got everyone's attention, making it crystal clear that no amount of fame or cash is worth gambling with your actual existence. We're dealing with legitimate life-threatening scenarios here, not some fantasy scenario where nothing bad happened.
There's I've seen the script, rigged, this, that, and the other. Do you think now, at the very least, that talk goes away? Broke his jaw, went in there against Anthony Joshua. At the very least, do you think that you guys can move on from that? Like, that won't follow you?
No, I don't. I actually, our lawyers are actively going after a number of people. One who claims to be a lawyer himself online. I don't remember the name or the handle, but it was something that had like 200,000 likes. And basically this post said, there was an agreement for AJ not to knock out Jake, but AJ disregarded the agreement and decided to not get his payday, but knock out Jake Paul. So it's pretty astonishing what people say. Your dear friend Lou DiBella, saw him put up a bunch of ridiculous things and even said, Nikisa, go ahead and sue me. But this wasn't a real fight. He was pulling punches. He wasn't giving it his full effort.
And so for the people, again, just to clear this up, because I asked Eddie this question, I'll ask you the exact same question. Once and for all, was there any sort of arrangement as far as it should go this many rounds? Because that's the one that I've heard. Oh, Anthony agreed to 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Can you tell us in black and white if there were any talks of any kind between the network, the promotion, the fighter?
There has never once in Jake Paul's career been any talk of that sort, of anything to do with the fight being anything but a real fight that has exactly the same situation as any professional fight. And that's exactly the same thing here for the Anthony Joshua fight. It's just beyond mind-blowing that people would think that. Anthony Joshua was on record saying that if he didn't finish him in the first round, that would be disappointing, that it would be a failure. The narrative changed as we got closer to fight night and obviously post-fight, and I understand why, but they were pretty adamant it would take max 2 rounds.
His main point keeps coming back to this harsh truth that stepping into that squared circle brings deadly serious risks that can't be ignored or brushed off like they don't matter. Based on what's floating around the combat sports world, Rogan is convinced that Paul needs to take a long, hard look at his choices and completely rethink his approach before even considering another fight.
Because here's the thing. Look at all them celebrities like dude from the Mighty Ducks, the little boy actor that got strung out on drugs. And all his fronts and all his teeth were missing from being on meth or whatever, whatever drug of choice he was on. There's no coming back from that. The people who like dissipate their teeth through drug usage, you don't get like a second set. So if I'm not mistaken, the dude from Mighty Ducks, somebody like he's been clean and they gave him a makeover and he has like pretty much fake teeth. So yeah, the teeth are going to be cooked. Now, I agree with the other part that Rogan was saying, but let's keep going.
Yeah, I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen. Yeah. And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it and that he could do well for a little bit.
Yeah, and I've already expressed my thoughts on this. I'm not giving no props for a person who says I am a real deal boxer because I went in and get smashed and got my jaw broken, but I lasted longer than Ngannou. But I was crazy enough to try, because to be honest, we're way past the honeymoon stage with a person like Jake Paul. You've been in this for long enough to go through fight camps, dedicate your time, effort, energy, money, spar with people. You spar with some quality names because you have resources and money or whatever. So we're well past that, to the point where you just get credit for stepping in. You maybe got credit your first fight or whatever, first couple of fights, for coming from your background and, you know, stepping in and fighting, but we're well past that. You have a box rec. You were being ranked by sanctioning bodies in boxing, so.
The bottom line is this: chasing clout or big paydays through these insanely dangerous matches, particularly when there might be shady manipulation happening behind the scenes, just isn't worth the devastating outcomes that could haunt you forever, assuming you even survive them. That's when things got real.
Break him down. He said before the fight, I'm going to break him down and then I'm going to knock him out. And that's exactly what he did. I thought it'd be all over within 3 rounds. But, you know, when I got in the ring after, because I was shouting, just, you know, anywhere, armed. I got in, he went, what are you rushing me for? And I was like, oh, sorry. So, but like, obviously he knows what he's doing, and actually now quite pleased that we got the rounds, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw you said that. Really random, I was on Twitter and I saw Jake Paul's mum said she wants to get in the ring and punch you. She said she doesn't like the smug look on your face. She is promoting her book, so I'm not sure if she wants, you know. But did you see that? What did you think of that?
No, I was very sad, because I couldn't have been nicer and more respectful of Jake and what he's done. And I think Logan's amazing. I think he's an incredible athlete. And I shook Jake Paul's dad's hand in the ring, you know. And if I would have seen Mum, I would have said, all right. But I think over the years, we've obviously had our beef, and she probably don't like me anyway. And I am probably a little bit smug. I wasn't smug after the fight, because I would have been more smug if it was all over in a round. Yeah. So, no, I'll give Jake respect. And, yeah. Sorry, Jake's mum doesn't like me, but if she can send me a free book, that'd be fantastic.
So Rogan wasn't done making his point. He came back even harder this time, laying it out with this intense energy that boxing represents genuine mortal danger at its foundation.
Thinking, for my own credibility, I've got to knock you out, but I've got to try and knock you out where I'm not hurting you as much as what I could if I unleashed. And with the punch you said that he landed, it's not his best punch, his most powerful punch, right? Yep. And he's shattered his jaw in 2 places, right? So Anthony Joshua gets his 70 million, whatever it is. But I think he's sitting there thinking, thank God for that. Thank God. On a human level, I've come out, all right, I've sort of, not reputation, but I haven't hurt him as bad as what I could have.
There should be an awful amount of people breathing a massive sigh of relief. Anybody that put that fight together, athletic commissions, like you said,
it wasn't a fight.
No, it wasn't at all. Like you said, it was a prize fight. It was an event. If Anthony damages him, he's got to live with that for the rest of his life.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of stress to deal with, you know what I mean? So I'm sure he's bleeding the side of relief. The team that have put him in there, that have negotiated that for him, but the authorities that put that on and commissioned it as a proper boxing match, I've no doubt.
Does that go on his... Because
it's a professional boxing
match. Do you know what? If I was Anthony Joshua, I would be saying, I don't want that on my record. Well, but for the credibility of them putting the fight on, they would have said to him, no, we've got to say this. It's been commissioned. It's going to be a proper fight. And, I found it... I love my boxing, but I just find the whole thing really, really unedifying. You said about get followers. You mentioned Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is nowhere near his level of getting like a British title fight or whatever. Nowhere near. So it's basically he's like...
Beat Jake Paul.
Well, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, beat Jake Paul. But so
but what I'm saying is that's 100. I stand by that, and I think Tommy would admit that. You know what I mean? To become a British champion is a very prestigious thing to do, and I think he would struggle to do that.
Keeping up this reckless fighting style could realistically result in catastrophic permanent damage that there's absolutely no coming back from once it happens. But wait, there's more to this situation.
And it feeds into the story of him being perhaps a little bit better than we sometimes think, although I don't really co-sign on that. Let me make the point. The first point is, I think people are overreacting a little bit. People were suggesting when I got on social media that this was like the biggest farce they'd ever seen in their life, and that this was, how could he fight like this, and this was a disaster, and Joshua should have got him out there earlier. There is probably some evidence to suggest that I don't think Joshua was carrying him in the sense of, hey, they coordinated this ahead of time. But was Joshua really stepping on the gas? No, I don't think he was really stepping on the gas. There were times I think he clearly pulled his punches, partly because Jake was squirmy and rotating on the outside, Also in part because I think, as I indicated on Friday, he's watching this guy with pretty bad footwork. He was literally tripping over himself, and he realized he just can't keep this up. So, okay, so there was that. But people were acting like, like, how could this be? How could this have happened? Guys, on Friday's MK, and then before that, earlier in the week on Submission Radio, they asked me on Submission Radio, how do you think he's gonna fight? And I'm like, he's gonna run. And they're like, you don't think he's gonna clinch? I'm like, okay, he'll clinch at times, but then the rest of the time he's going to run. Like, what other way was this going to go? What other way?
He dropped another serious warning about how getting involved in criminal behavior or taking part in fixed matches could expose fighters to major legal trouble that goes way beyond just bad publicity. This isn't about damaged reputation anymore. This is about facing real legal punishment that could destroy everything you've worked to achieve.
It just wasn't. Jake Paul had a very healthy fear for his life while he was in there, and he was moving as such. He was staying away from him. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this athletic competition, and then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt again. I mean, he was fighting. Then it turns to where he can't stay away anymore. So now he's got to go the other way. He's got to go forward. So now he's clinching him. Now he's dropping down to his knees. He's going below the waist. He's getting to double leg positions. He was fighting. These guys were fighting. Jake was fighting for his survival, and you could so see it. You could see this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through, not even kill its prey, just make it through. And it was incredible. It was really incredible. So on the back end, some of the comments that I made or that I had heard were so confusing to me. It was a very good competition. I will tell you, it breaks my heart too that Anthony Joshua can't get him out of there in one round. Dave Portnoy made a comment before the fight. He said, I like Jake. I wish well for Jake. Of course I'm taking Joshua. And then Portnoy made his point. And he said, because I believe in boxing. This isn't if I'm cheering for Jake or if I think that Joshua is more experienced or better. I believe in boxing. I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion. Of course.
Rogan made his position absolutely unmistakable on this topic. Reality doesn't give you do-overs. Those hits connect for real, the injuries are permanent, and there's no reset button when disaster strikes inside those ropes. This is where the plot thickens though, because Nikisa Baydarian came forward to set the record straight, officially stating that Jake Paul and his entire camp never participated in any wrongdoing or attempted to manipulate the outcome in any conceivable way. He went straight after these rumors that have been spreading like wildfire throughout social media channels. All these allegations claiming that his match against Anthony Joshua involved some kind of predetermined script. He's labeling them as total fabrications without any foundation in reality. Based on Nikisa's comprehensive response, internet users have been pushing these incredible theories that have somehow gained massive momentum, including one specific viral post claiming there was some hidden deal preventing Joshua from finishing Paul. He broke down in explicit detail how Joshua competed authentically and aggressively during each and every round, completely ignoring any supposed secret arrangement that these theorists keep promoting. Nikisa stressed with total certainty that Jake put in maximum effort during training, fought with complete commitment, and faced genuine danger throughout his time in the ring against a truly elite-level competitor. He also clarified that they're actively pursuing legal measures against certain people spreading these proven false stories across different platforms. For Nikisa, putting out this statement is extremely important for defending the well-deserved reputations of both Jake and everyone on his team, making it perfectly obvious to supporters, doubters, and critics that this fight was totally authentic and completely unscripted, with any idea of a rigged outcome being purely groundless and based on nothing more than wild theories and paranoid thinking. Listen, expanding on what we just covered, we've got to address what Joe Rogan said specifically aimed at Jake Paul, because he already delivered this extremely harsh warning, ordering Jake to never attempt anything this dangerously stupid again. Rogan strongly advised him to genuinely think twice about accepting these life-threatening boxing contests that expose him to serious harm. stressing with this unmistakable force that no professional achievement, regardless of how amazing it appears or how much profit it generates, justifies risking your very existence. Rogan keeps repeating that the threats inside that ring are extremely real. We're looking at devastating brain trauma, lifelong disabilities, potentially deadly results, and chasing fake fights or facing dangerous challengers just for celebrity status or money could lead to permanent consequences that go way beyond one terrible evening. His point couldn't be more obvious. Personal safety and making responsible choices has to be the top priority for every fighter, no matter how famous they are or how many followers they have online. Matthew Stern offered this incredibly insightful and comprehensive breakdown of the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul contest, making sure to emphasize the extremely deliberate preparation and tactical approach that influenced every strategic decision inside that ring. He detailed extensively how the match unfolded exactly as planned through a carefully designed game plan, with Joshua's corner making the conscious choice to emphasize patience and precise aggression management instead of launching wild, reckless attacks that could create dangerous openings. Their strategy from day one was to systematically test Jake Paul's capabilities, strategically revealing his vulnerabilities and pushing his endurance and physical preparation to the breaking point before unleashing those crushing, decisive blows at precisely the perfect opportunity. Stern stressed that this deliberate, strategic approach represents what genuine elite boxing truly means, where long-term victory depends on strict discipline, flawless timing, and tactical mastery, instead of just depending on brute force and crossing your fingers. Every single moment of the fight, based on his evaluation, was precisely planned to keep total command of rhythm and ring control, while slowly and systematically building dominance throughout each round. This strategy shows how intelligent planning, preparation, and boxing IQ frequently overcome pure physical power in deciding who wins. Based on Stern's professional opinion, this method didn't just guarantee victory from a strategic standpoint, it also perfectly demonstrated the genuine artistry of boxing, as this sophisticated intellectual battle, where controlled execution and smart choices define true champions and distinguish veteran, skilled fighters from inexperienced newcomers who are still mastering the fundamentals. Adam Keterol entered the discussion with this completely honest and direct evaluation of the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul bout, and he absolutely didn't hold anything back in his commentary. He highlighted the major disparity that contemporary boxing is dealing with right now, where fame and online influence are increasingly driving major fight announcements instead of genuine ability and competitive worthiness. Keterol made this compelling argument that Jake Paul's incredibly fast climb in professional boxing comes much more from his enormous social media reach and celebrity recognition than from any real technical ability or substantial experience facing legitimate competition inside an actual ring. Based on Keterol's thorough analysis, even though Anthony Joshua was intentionally holding back his complete power and restraining his most destructive attack combinations, he still showed this incredible command, impeccable timing, and pinpoint accuracy during the entire fight, connecting with strikes that inflicted significant damage and demonstrated just how enormous the skill difference really was between both men. This obvious and undeniable difference triggered widespread speculation that specific elements of the contest might have been affected or influenced by outside pressures and business interests instead of pure athletic competition and sporting honesty. Stories spread rapidly through boxing circles that Jake Paul allegedly tried to control or manipulate the rhythm and dynamics of the fight to reduce his own danger and protect his public image, showing these wider worries about how celebrity boxing increasingly puts entertainment and marketing ahead of genuine competition and legitimate sport. Keterol's insights really highlight how these modern publicity-focused fights can seriously damage competitive authenticity, putting all emphasis and spotlight on show value and commercial appeal instead of real talent, strategic complexity, and the classic principles that have always been the foundation of professional boxing. Sam Jones delivered this brutally honest and completely uncensored response to the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul fight that really reflects what most serious boxing enthusiasts were feeling, pointing out that this match was truly painful to watch from beginning to end, but not because we were seeing these incredible competitive exchanges that keep you glued to your seat. Instead, it was painful because of the obvious technical shortcomings that were constantly visible throughout the whole encounter. He described in pretty blunt language that Jake Paul had major problems with basic boxing fundamentals that any legitimate professional should have perfected long ago, including essential defensive skills like correct head movement, keeping a strong guard up, using proper footwork and positioning, and responding appropriately to Joshua's attack sequences when they develop. These constant errors and technical failures created this ongoing feeling of mismatch during the whole fight, repeatedly emphasizing the absolutely obvious difference in experience, skill, and ring intelligence between these two competitors. People and experts observing carefully noticed that certain moments in the fight looked almost planned or practiced, as though the action had been quietly directed or controlled, to keep both fighters from experiencing excessive danger or getting into situations that might cause real complications. Although Jake Paul definitely invested considerable training hours and effort getting ready for this match, and nobody's doubting his commitment in that area, Jones indicated that the clear mismatch in natural ability and boxing intelligence, mixed with these supposed signs of scripted timing and planned sequences, led to this watching experience that felt truly disturbing and awkward for those who expected real competitive excitement and genuine athletic competition. This fight really exposed the serious problems of combining celebrity status and social media popularity with professional boxing, showing in harsh detail how entertainment and spectacle can completely dominate actual skill and authenticity, making devoted fans question whether these events where performance and show business overlap so clearly and obviously are even legitimate. Chael Sonnen expressed some serious disapproval about this whole fight card, emphasizing with real worry that contests like this are way too dangerous to be happening under what anyone would call standard competitive conditions in boxing. He characterized the match in these really striking terms as seeming less like genuine, authentic boxing competition between two athletes testing their abilities, and more like this frantic fight for survival, where both the physical dangers and reputation risks were extremely, almost irresponsibly elevated for everyone participating. Sonnen emphasized with genuine urgency that when amateur fighters choose to face elite professionals who've dedicated decades mastering their skills, they're exposing themselves to truly deadly situations that could cause lasting damage or death. The alleged scripting participation by Jake Paul, combined with these extremely dangerous matchups that probably shouldn't get official approval anyway, really increases and worsens the problems we're witnessing throughout celebrity boxing. From Sonnen's viewpoint, this expanding trend of mixing celebrity status and social media popularity with serious professional athletics creates significant dangers, not only for the credibility and respect of boxing as a legitimate athletic sport, but also for needlessly putting participants at risk in ways that earlier boxing generations would never have accepted. Experts and boxing professionals watching the contest observed that Jake Paul's fighting style during the match seemed strangely careful at important critical moments, which sparked all kinds of speculation about his real motivations and what was actually going on in there. While some people saw this careful approach as just a wise, intelligent tactic for someone fighting way beyond their real skill level, other watchers and critics suggested that specific moments and exchanges appeared almost staged or arranged beforehand, structured specifically to let Joshua control and dominate the fight without putting either fighter in extreme danger or creating situations that might get completely out of hand. This reading supposedly matches up closely with those ongoing rumors that Paul tried to affect and control the timing and particular moments of the fight to shield himself from serious injury while also maximizing the show value for the huge audience tuning in. These fighters weren't participating in what most people would call a genuine boxing match in the classic sense. That wraps up everything for this episode, and wow, we really went deep on this controversial fight and all the chaos around it. Keep watching for next time, because we all know more twists are coming in this ongoing saga.